Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels to short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Oh, I love that part. Good morning.
Good morning, Sarah. I brought a friend.
You
Morning,
did.
Sarah.
You did. Good morning, Ben.
Well, I figure we introduce. We got the Ben Wolf in the
I
house
love
with us today, and we're sitting in his resort here, Onera, Fredericksburg, and we're in the brand new expansion. Will, I want you to show the picture, and then I want Ben to talk about himself, who he is, and what he's creating.
Dive in. Let's see.
Yeah, we put Steve in the coolest unit here. So
We're sitting in this one right now.
Yeah, so the entire thing's wrapped in glass all the way around, floor to ceiling.
Whoa.
You're immersed in the trees. I think Steve was pretty impressed with the Texas Hill Country. Wasn't expecting it to be quite as beautiful and lush as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this treehouse has a 40-foot cantilever. There's a monolithic piece of structural steel that goes 30 feet into the ground, counterbalancing it and anchoring it. It's got a little bit of deflection, moves a little bit, but we have this beautiful hot tub hanging off the edge on the patio here, overlooking the creek. So pretty spectacular. This is our expansion. So first property I built was here next door, Onera, Fredericksburg, phase 1. This is phase 2. We did a $14 million expansion, 23 keys, 8 entirely new unit types. And this is one of 2 locations we have in the Hill Country. So we also developed a property, Onera Wimberley, which is 28 keys, 45 minutes south of Austin. I'm going to bring Steve there later today. Has some of the best views, and specifically sunset views in the Hill Country.
Yes.
And me and Steve are going to be partnering on doing a landscape hotel together in South Florida, bringing the Bali, Costa Rica type experience stateside, just 45 minutes from Miami. So.
Yeah, so viewers, we talked about this last week. It's called Buy Up. We shared the renderings. It's beautiful. And I had to come out here. We were just joking to make sure this place was actually real. But it is awesome. It is awesome. It's a beautiful place. And I was just blown away. I didn't know what to expect. But this room rivals any Four Seasons room. The amenities, the quality, the views is just spectacular. And what he's created in hospitality is this whole new, I think a new category. It's just amazing because I've never anything like it. And just walking around the grounds and seeing, I saw a deer for the first time in the real world. I've never seen deer.
The first time you just had your Bambi experience?
I live at zoos.
I was making fun of Steve. I'm like, I'm from the Northeast. Like, we can't get rid of deer fast enough.
Right? Exactly.
They eat everything. And Steve's like, oh yeah, you live in Florida. There's no deer.
There's Paul Mansley. Good to see you, Paul. Yeah, I was chasing a deer through the bush. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, there's a deer, man. I got to get the shot. And then there's the others walking around here.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
wow.
I am. I'm a Miami boy. I can see sharks, right? You can go on my Instagram and see the sharks I tag.
Yeah, you do.
There's no deers out there. There's some key deers in the Keys, but they're endangered, I think. So, but beautiful place to be.
This is amazing. Yeah, no, we definitely, actually, we should share a link to this, but not we're getting too complicated here. But you guys, for those that are joining us live, let us know where you're joining us from. This is awesome. I have to say, I'm blown away. So wait, when did you get there and how long are you staying?
So I got here yesterday morning. I had a private chauffeur. Ben picked us up from the airport. So myself and Victor Faria, my partner over at Tangy, picked us up. And then we came driving through. And when I envisioned Texas, I've been to Austin, but never really went to the outside. I thought it would be flat, but it's like rolling hills. And then we arrived in Fredericksburg. It's like a Hallmark movie TV set. It's like what you would expect like Old Town Texas to look like. He took us to great cafes, coffee shops, a beautiful new hotel that they built there. It's just amazing to see. Thank you for sharing the link there, Will.
Yeah. So
if you're watching, open up another browser, check out stayonera.com because it really is beautiful.
Oh, yes. Thank you for all of this. Okay. So I'm a big fan of Austin. How far away, what's the drive outside of Austin? Just for those that might not know the area that specifically. About
hour and a half from Austin.
Okay.
It's a big drive-to destination from Austin. It's, Texas wine country, Texas Hill Country, tons of great F&B outlets, restaurants, bars, wineries, you name it. They got it out here. And Onera, I think Steve was pretty blown away. We're on Main Street. It's this like pioneer town vibe, super like old school Texas feeling. And then a mile off of Main Street, we have Onera in what feels like this enchanted forest. So super accessible to all the action, but still tucked in the woods.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly right.
Love this. That website
this
is also
your vibe. Yeah, Sarah, this is your vibe. Knowing you go on some adventures, like you would like this place a lot. Plus, they have like great communal areas, like a great pool. They have 2 pools now, saunas.
Done.
You and Alex should come down. We'll do Wimberley and then Fredericksburg.
Done. Let me come. I will fly my drone. It'll be a good time, and I will keep my island hair. We'll just call it Texas hair at that point.
Yeah. And I see Kate was on here saying the deer eat all her roses. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just saw them like wandering around. So cute. But then they're like, no, they eat everything and they're ruining the landscape.
They do. They do.
And Lou's website looks good. It does. And then Christelle packing and
for cool. Yes. California. It is significantly cooler here. I can attest to that. So that'll be fun.
A beautiful place. I'm glad we got Ben. He read all the articles. He studied all the articles we're going to be talking about today.
Co-host today. We have a co-host, and you're traveling, Steve. What are you taking?
A month? Yeah, you influenced me. I'm not going to Turks and Caicos, but Buenos Aires, Indianapolis, not my favorite. Fredericksburg, love it here. So I'll take it.
Dude, I love it. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to let my cousins know about you guys because they just live outside. Actually, they live in Georgetown. So they don't live too far away. So
not at all.
Okay. I mean, I'm a big fan, definitely a big fan. So cool. We could talk about this all day, but should we dive into I'll just do a quick thing. I'm at home, as everybody can tell. But for those that were following me on social media, I just came back from Turks and Caicos. I was staying at Ambergris Caye. It's a private island resort. It's so incredibly insane. We can probably dive into it more next week, but just came back. And if you're wondering why I look like I just literally rolled off the islands, I did. So it's cool to be back.
You're ready.
I am so ready. It's summertime. It's cool. But more so, I'm obsessed where you guys are right now. So that is awesome. I love this. I'm so glad that this worked out. This is really, really, really cool.
Very cool. And just, again, great place. Check out the website if you're just tuning in right now. StayOnAir.com. Check it out. Great place to be. All right. Let's dive into some topics. That's why people are here. They don't want to hear us talk. They're here for the news.
No, they're here for my hair. Kidding. Ben, you ready to dive into these topics with us? We'd love your 2 cents.
I am. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's do it. Run it.
Cool. All right, perfect. So our first thing that's kind of been happening is Hyatt is selling Playa-owned hotels to Tortuga resorts for $2 billion. So this is interesting. Hyatt's actually offloading their portfolio of owned properties acquired through Playa Hotels and Resorts. And it's interesting because this move is kind of supporting Hyatt's pivot for an asset light management. But it also includes luxury beachfront hotels through Mexico and the Caribbean. But have you guys looked into this at all? Laughing at Steve.
Of course, we studied every article here in depth of it. And I'll just say one thing before Ben gives his opinion. It was funny because we talked about this purchase a couple of months ago.
We did.
Hyatt bought these resorts. And it just shows, most management groups now don't want to own anything, right? So they bought it because they want those locations and they want that management contract. And they sold it right away for a lot of money that they can go use and continue that model. And we've been talking about things like asset light and versus owning. What do you think, Ben, when you see that?
Yeah, I mean, look, it makes a ton of sense. I think the asset light playbook for these brands and management companies makes a ton of sense. Marriott and Hilton have been super successful at it. Hyatt has done quite a lot of it as well and is sort of leaning into that direction now. It seems like even more. I'm interested in the purchase side too, just because I love development and what can be created. Yeah, I love that KSL is a partner here. I feel like KSL knows how to do things right, and they're some of the pioneers in luxury experiential destinations these days. So I'm hoping some of these Tortuga properties get even more of an uplift, maybe some reno, really turn them into something spectacular. So that's my hope.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. And I have to say, even though maybe not specifically like this, but in a lot of the places that I've been to in recent months, I mean, there is this interesting element we're just shifting. The whole the hotel experience is dramatically shifting. I was talking with this to the general manager actually of Ambergris Caye the other day, and it's like people know, like, as far as like big box hotels, there's a time and place for it. And you've got so many people that maybe do travel for business that when it comes to leisure, they want something unique. They want something that's not necessarily affiliated with one of these bigger brands, where people can have more fun with the whole stay experience. So whether it's a version of outdoor glamping or this, I mean, they want that. They still might want some of their comforts, but I mean, again, we're just seeing more of that trend towards that.
Yeah, I see a comment came through on the back end here for Ben.
Yes.
So Ben, as a developer, do you think your brands will pivot to more asset-light models?
We've certainly thought about it and discussed it. I have an asset-light business, actually. So I have a company, Awasi, that does hotel marketing and revenue management, and maybe even leaning further into full-service hotel management. So experiential hotel management, sort of new age hotel management company. So we may have some announcements on that soon. So yes, I have that side of the business. It's great cash flow, and we add a lot of value to our hotel partners, particularly on the social media side, on the content marketing side. So we have that piece. I do love building one-of-a-kind destinations and developing places, even though it takes a long time. Equity takes a long time to get paid out, but I just love doing it. So I'll continue to do that. Who knows, though? Maybe down the line we're franchising to buy a brand for the right partners. Hard to say.
That's one of the goals we were talking about. That's what we like. I had to convince them that a land lease was going to be good versus owning the land. So it's like the first step, right? It's like, hey, we don't have to have everything owned. We could do it this way, just like hotels do. So yeah, it's fun and exciting to see what's going on.
It is. I'm very excited for you guys, and just seeing like how it's going to continue to grow and develop, because the concept is there. I mean, and we're seeing this is what travelers are looking for, and it's just going to continue to grow and boom. So
it will. Now we may not be able to be in LA though, as a segue to our next story.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. This is crazy. And I mean, obviously for those that know, I'm, based in Los Angeles, have worked in hotels here for a very, very long time. But there's this big thing that's been going on for those that have been paying attention. For LA, they've been trying to raise the minimum wage for hotels, basically up to $30 an hour. They've enacted a $25 minimum wage for hotel workers, and they will go up to $30 an hour by 2028. So that means, housekeepers, engineers. I mean, that is what Bellman, that is what minimum wage is going to be. And it's wild to think, because I feel like in 2020, I mean, maybe it was at 15, 14.
I mean, that's a gigantic number for entry-level people to be coming in. And those positions are labor is the biggest expense for hotels. And all of a sudden you're just jacking it up and keep going. There's a certain limit to where it will continue. And at $30 an hour, you're getting $60,000 to be a front desk agent. I'm all happy for career front desk agents and concierges like you were. Right. But there's a certain limit that we end up paying as consumers. Right. And so the numbers don't, number sometimes. Right. Like as we're building things, we're going through pro formas like, hey, like we have to move this labor. Can we hire someone at this rate? Like, totally. It doesn't make sense for a lot of owners. So what do you actually hear on the ground? And maybe we'll get Ben's opinion too. But
actually, Ben, do you want to chime in?
Sure. Yeah. Look, I just think that the hotel industry in LA, I guess, more urgently needs to adapt. So we've historically tried to maintain a high level of hospitality, but also have more limited staff, lean into different technologies. I've been a big proponent of doing away with front desk. I think there's a way to create that sort of arrival experience without having a front desk. So, and our Onera guests, I think, prefer to get their codes and just be able to go to their units as they please. So I think there's some areas that could actually be addition by subtraction when it comes to reducing the number of staff. But I will say at Onera, something I've learned: when you have fewer staff, the staff that you have need to be exceptional, because there's fewer people to respond to things. They need to have a strong passion and a ton of accountability for creating a great experience for guests. So my view: figure out how to automate more, leverage technology to still create a very high level guest experience, but having maybe slightly fewer staff when the minimum wage is $30 an hour. But then the folks you do have, making sure they're really exceptional.
Well, and it's interesting. I mean, you bring up a great point. Like that works at your property. And obviously we all know this is that no property is alike. I mean, it all depends on obviously how many keys you have, the type of experience, what people are looking for. So I love that sort of creativity. I mean, for me, I've gone to some places that's like, hey, here you go. Here's like the key to your golf cart, and you get to drive your own golf cart to your room and explore it on your own. So that's kind of cool. But then obviously that's a very unique experience, and not all properties are the same in that. But yeah, the thing in LA, it's tough because obviously, you know, we all want people to make more money. Like we all want that, but understanding the business side of things, it just is like, how can it actually play out? And then where do those costs go? Like at what point does the rate of the room become too high that it's not justifying, you know, the rate doesn't justify the experience. So it ends up, it's a very tricky thing in Los Angeles. A lot of people were not in support of it. But obviously enough people were that it has passed. But it's one of those, it's that fine line. I mean, it's expensive to live in the city. And you look at New York City and with unions there. And I mean, you've got bellmen that are making like 120 grand a year. And like that is their career. So, but it's also, they live in New York. It's a very tricky place to be in. And I mean, we just have to become smart as far as how we're running our operations. And a lot to what Ben said.
Like when I was in DC, I remember when we talked about there was like a surcharge on all the restaurant receipts that said like 15% tax surcharge. Remember who you vote for? That was like the line on my receipt at some of the restaurants. Wow. And so I think like you may start seeing some of those service charges show up to cover those additional expenses. But also like we talked last show, when I was at High Tech, there's so many AI solutions out there that the owner is going to be like, hey, you need to figure it out. You can have the same amount of budget for your staff, but they can make $30 an hour, but you got to get rid of
automate the rest.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm afraid it starts happening. Like, yeah, those people that last will make their $30, but there's going to be a lot of other people looking for new types of work, which I'm very concerned about. I know we posted it on our channel on the clip of what we were talking about, but it's happening little by little.
Mm-hmm. No, it really is. We're just, I think, I almost want to say like we're at the start of a change, but I think we've been in the middle of this like evolution, and it'll be interesting to see how just over the next couple of years, things will dramatically change. I mean, in the next 2-3 years, looking at a very different landscape as far as just hotel operations, all in all. Yeah.
Then your area continues to build. So now you got a new building coming up here.
Yes.
Have you seen anything happening? Have you driven by and seen what's going on?
You know what? It's interesting. I haven't been home, but I'm going to be home for the next 3 weeks. So I'm going to get out there and check it out. But One Beverly Hills is breaking ground. And this is interesting because it's, first of all, it's always tough to, especially like in Beverly Hills and in this area. I mean, as you can see, it's gorgeous. They've kind of been trying to figure out what to do with that particular area for some time. So I love seeing this. But they're aiming to have it completed for the 2028 Olympics, which is great for that. But yeah, I mean, again, it's like right now it's a slow time for the Los Angeles market. As you can tell, I'm trying to choose my words wisely here. It's a slow time for them.
Don't knock on your door.
I know. Hey, no. Anyway, I was going to make a joke that I don't need to make. But yeah. So I mean, in general, the Los Angeles market is having a slower season, and I don't mean like year season. So I mean, again, hopefully, it's all part of creating sort of excitement for Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, and seeing this sort of new type of like mixed real estate. So hospitality, high-end retail, all of that. I mean, constantly.
They're building an Aman there. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think the Aman brand is phenomenal, right? They've done some pretty incredible things in multiple properties in the U.S. and across the world. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in how these two, the $30 minimum wage and then these super high-end hotels with 4 or 5 staff to guest ratio expectations, like how that's going to play out. I mean, this puts a lot of pressure on their underwriting, on their P&L, I have to imagine. And by the time they're open, 2028, we'll be at 30.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely interesting. How do they create this very upscale luxury experience while being a little bit more efficient on the staffing front? I think that's going to be their challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be What were you saying?
Talking to some of the people that we've had on the show and being at these association meetings, that ultra luxury stays strong. Like the wealthy are staying wealthy, and they'll pay, I think, if they get that experience. And, it may not hurt their pocket as much. It's going to be interesting to see how it fills up. Because I see it in Miami. All these brands are coming up, like the Rosewoods and the Amans and Bulgar. They're still going, and people are buying the condos in those places to have a condo hotel. And it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, I do love the mixed use development. It feels like this whole like curated little bubble and experience within the city. I like that as a consumer, and I think that more and more travelers appreciate that. The walkability, the convenience while being in a prime location.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
all the brands they know and trust all around, right?
Totally. And in the heart of Beverly Hills. So, I mean, again, you're kind of like in the mix of it. I mean, if people are going to be going and spending money, that's obviously a key location, just a worldwide recognized location. So, and it is interesting because, again, for those that know Los Angeles, we don't normally build up, we build out. And so as just over the years, just with different whether it's like building permits and technology, we are building a little bit more up. So this is what's going to be really, really interesting and unusual, because we don't normally go that route, but that's a newer trend as far as in building in the city, in the area. So it'll be cool to see. We need something that people are excited about. So that's kind of cool. But speaking of excited, let's go to the other coast. Yeah. Why don't you lead us with this one?
I'm excited about this one. The Waldorf Astoria is set to reopen now. They pushed it back again to September 2025. But this has been under renovation. It's a $2 billion renovation. They closed in 2017. So imagine that. It's going to be 8 years of renovation. And I've watched some of the news shows walking through, and it's amazing. They have like artisans putting gold leaf by hand everywhere. There are people that had to study what they did back in the early 1800s and 1900s to make this hotel back to what it is. Like this beautiful Art Deco masterpiece. And it was one of the first hotels I remember as a kid walking into and be like, whoa, like this is different. Like this is a different place. This is not a regular like hotel I've ever been to. So I remember that clock tower that's in the lobby. And now one of my good friends is the director of all culinary for Hilton. And he's been spending a lot of time there. Jorge Ramos is the chef. It's just amazing to see what they're doing. When you think Waldorf Astoria, what do you think? You surprised me that there's one actually coming.
There's one coming to Fredericksburg, which is very interesting.
Wow.
Look, I love this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they're trying to kind of restore, sort of bring in the historical significance, sort of bring it back to that era. I love that. One of my favorite hotels is the Adelphi in Saratoga Springs. I actually did a post about it. They did something similar where super luxury, super upscale, but they brought it back to the 1870s when the hotel was founded. And when you walk into that lobby, it feels like you're walking into a time capsule, but it doesn't look tired, right? It looks fresh and new and reupholstered, and everything looks, prim and proper, right? It looks amazing, but you feel like you're transported into a new world. So I'm hoping to see that with this renovation. I also think it's wild. They're going from 1,400 rooms to 375. So bringing that way down, rooms much bigger. I mean, I think that it's definitely a bold move, right? To reduce to that level. I will say though, whenever somebody asks me advice in developing hotels, whether it's experiential places like this, or, maybe even a hotel like the Waldorf Astoria, I say, do fewer rooms better, right? Do fewer units better, right? It's like, and I've seen this at my first development on Air Fredericksburg, our most unique, most expensive, nicest rooms not only have the highest rate, they also have the highest occupancy. So that is what people want. And so especially in a market like New York City, where you have people willing to pay to the nth degree, I think they might be onto something with fewer rooms, but way better.
Yeah. I see David saying, did I say in the 1800s? It originally in the 1800s, and they redid it in like the 1920s and 30s to what it is today. But what's cool about it is I was watching the CEO of Hilton talk about it, that this is their most important hotel in their chain, but also in the entire world, he believes, because they're setting a new standard for what the ultra luxury market should be. And their presidential suite, they asked him, like, how much is it to go for? He's like, between $50,000 and $70,000 a night for their 4-bedroom suite. And the interviewer was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's already getting reservations. We have people coming to stay. So it's just amazing to see what is people are willing to pay and stay at when they know they're getting something special. So this is something special. 7 years to do anything like this, all by hand. It's amazing. And
I mean, it really,
for sure. Most management companies say to add keys, but as a consumer, I want bigger, better amenities and luxury for my room.
Totally.
All right.
Look, and by limiting inventory, you control occupancy in a way, you know, if you have 1,400 rooms, it's hard to fill that. But and you have to play with rate, right? You have to discount things that a brand like the Waldorf Astoria doesn't want to do. It's one of the reasons we're only doing 20 keys at Bahia. I mean, there's other reasons, but it's like, how do we maintain exclusivity, maintain a high price point, and keep occupancy at, you know, 70, 80, 85%?
Yeah.
Very true. Well, I'm excited. Hopefully, we can do a live show, and they'll have one of the biggest spas in New York City at 30,000 square feet. So it'll be fun to see what it all looks like when it's finally open.
It's great. I mean, again, the history aspect. I mean, we're going to be seeing a lot of this. I mean, I know the Hotel del Coronado, even in San Diego. I mean, we're talking about hotels that were built-ish around the same time that are really going heavy on their renovations, because I love what Ben was saying is that people like the historic element, but obviously they don't want it to be overly worn or tired feeling. And again, when you have the smaller numbers, you can control the consistency and the level of service far easier. But again, it's that scarcity model. If they're booked out, people want it even more. So, it'll be good. And it also makes sense it's like 375 rooms. I mean, as somebody that's worked in high-end luxury properties, I mean, even that's on the big side, you know, so for that. So, but I mean, it's totally a smart move. And I know a lot of people are going to be very excited about it. So they're just ready for it to open. Okay. Let's kind of quickly run through these. You guys ready? Okay. Oh my gosh. After my rant.
I'm curious.
Yeah, exactly. So the 2025's best airlines named and ranked. Of course, no U.S. carrier has made the list. That is not a surprise. I don't really think that they have over the past couple of years. But yeah, I mean, it's Qatar Airlines.
Delta would make it. What happened?
Wait, what?
I've had some pretty good Delta experiences lately.
She's missed Delta. I thought Delta would make it, but he's like, he hit them bad.
I mean, Delta used to be like gold standard. The last 2 flights I've flown with Delta have been a disaster.
Well, okay, so a couple things with that. No, Delta would definitely.
Who was number one? I missed this one. Who was
Qatar?
Number one?
Qatar Airlines.
Qatar Airlines.
Yeah, but of the U.S. carriers, I'm sure Delta's still.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Correct. So we're looking at international. So you've got Qatar, I believe. Here, hold on. I'm trying to see. Okay, yeah. So Qatar.
Yeah, it's all
Singapore, Cathay Pacific, Emirates, Al Nippon, Turkish, whatever. You know, I mean, again, like these are internationally the travel experience is just you cannot compare it to what you have with domestic flights. So and again, we're kind of seeing these top three. I feel like the top 3-4 have kind of like rotated within the top position over the past 5 years. So I know they get excited about it every year, but it's also kind of like nothing too much has changed. I mean, they're all, you know, high-end experiences for the international travel, but domestically, I mean, I know everybody knows I'm a big Delta fan. I just gave United a big try. It's a tough time in general to be trying and testing out airlines in the summertime, just because you've got delays from weather. I mean, my whole trip got moved by a whole day because they canceled my flight, and I was United. But that's also weather related. So yeah, this is definitely, I wish that the U.S. carriers could learn something from international, but I just don't think they're playing the same.
David asked the question. You influenced him to go to Croatia. So,
okay. Well, I will say this. One of the reasons why I went to Croatia, Dubrovnik, they do have a direct flight from Newark to Dubrovnik, so on United. But obviously there are other, you know, you can fly in all different ways, but that's kind of nice if somebody's looking to do direct from the US. But yeah, I know.
We got a lot of work to do, but here we're catching up on other ways. We have yachts coming out of the US here. Ritz-Carlton is launching their third luxury yacht. And I
They're
remember
on
when
it
we
right
first
now.
started this show, we were talking about the very first ones that were coming out with Four Seasons. Now I'm on catching up. It seems like, again, people want to live that lifestyle, but I see that cruise went out and it's like celebrity filled with a lot of people on that. It's amazing who they have on that ship all hanging out.
Cool. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I'm like,
you've seen there.
Pardon?
I see like local celebrity in Miami, Dave Grutman's on there. It was like Sofia Vergara's on there.
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart. It's like all these people on the ship. Who else did you see on there?
So it's interesting. So this is a very interesting move because in transparency, like the Ritz-Carlton yacht collection it's been growing, but slowly. I don't think it made as big of a splash, no pun intended, as they had hoped, because it definitely appeals to a very specific clientele. I've had clients of mine that I've booked on there. They loved it. That was the vibe that they were going for. There are so many other people that I know that are like, yeah, not quite it. But this was this PR move, I think, is the boldest move that they've done since they've launched. And the number of celebrities, my Instagram feed is flooded. It's crazy who's on the. I just want to be on that cruise to just be like, who else is like on here? And they're still sailing right now, I think. So
that's awesome. So would you go on a cruise like this, Ben? Are you a cruiser?
They're making cruises cool again, I feel like. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. Yeah. I definitely, my grandparents were big cruisers, absolutely loved it. They were cool in their day. It's definitely intriguing to me. It really is. Yeah. I mean, this experience, fully curated, branded, it's making me think twice about a cruise trip that I probably wouldn't have thought twice about until I was, in my later years.
Yeah. When you're on those yachts, you can go to different ports. It's not like the big, I like the big cruise ships too. I like some of that, but this, like you can go to unique locations and you're with really nice people. And it's, it's interesting to see how they do it.
And I mean, 10 grand maybe sounds like a lot of money, but for a full, 6-day trip it's really not, right? When you add it all together and everything's pretty much included typically on a cruise. So
yeah. And I mean, as somebody who's been on cruises on ships of similar size, it is a different experience. And it's a very, I love traveling on cruises like this, and especially of this size, because again, the people that you're interacting with, how you're able to interact, it is very much elevated. And I love what Steve was mentioning, that you can go to different ports. I mean, even when I did Antarctica, I think at max capacity, it would be 200 guests. So that's very intimate. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, this play. And I think what they're really trying to do is take the market share from those that, for Four Seasons and the other sort of high end cruises that are coming out there. But hey, people are doing it, as we've seen. All inclusives and cruise lines, people are kind of opting for that just in the current economic climate. They want to know that this is the price that they're paying, and kind of they don't have to worry about spending every time they go to eat or do something. So
Lou the cruiser, Lou's doing his 41st cruise next week.
Woo!
Good job, Lou.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that biking river cruise.
That'll be great. That'll be cool. I will be doing Cunard at the end of July. I'll be doing the Norwegian fjords, and then I'll come back and I'm going to be doing Alaska. So Cunard also really has a lot of history, and doing a very elevated experience. So stay tuned for that. We got our cruise fans over here. All right, let's go to our real-time recap. What is happening on the streets of hospitality? What have you guys seen?
Ben, do you want to go first on what you're seeing? Like something in hospitality that maybe wowed you? Could be anything from like a gas station that was awesome.
Like my personal experience in hospitality. Yeah. Look, I mean, the PMS Muse put on a dinner last week at Jeffrey's Steakhouse, probably one of the nicest steakhouses in Austin. And I just thought it was really well done. Curated group. I met a bunch of great people. I'm not a Muse customer today. Maybe I will become one in the future. But yeah, I met one of the owners of the Frame Hotel, a really cool new hip hotel in Austin, South Congress District. We're going to meet up. So yeah, I love creating, them creating those curated groups for us to connect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, I'm going to say The city of Fredericksburg is what I'm giving a shout out to.
Okay.
All right. I went to, where do we go? Vaudeville for lunch on
Vaudeville, yeah. French Bistro.
Then we had coffee and
the Albert Hotel.
The Albert Hotel. And then we had dinner at House and Vine.
Hill and Vine.
Hill and Vine. And everyone was awesome. Everyone was so nice. The quality of the food and beverage was fantastic. Like, I'm blown away by this city. You heard me talk about the other city that I was in the other week that I was not a fan of. Like, this is a city that I would come back to. Hang out, make sure I book at Onera, and then go explore the main street, because it's just a cool vibe here. And I just think everyone is nice here and they want people to come back. I was telling people, like, oh, I just landed from Miami. They're like, oh, come on in. Let me show you around. And just so nice, everybody. Right. Great place.
True Southern hospitality. Like, really. Yeah. Oh, complete with that sweet tea. I love it. So I'll just do a quick shout out to that Ambergris Key, where I just was, the private island resort. Think about it. It's a private island. And so it's not like hiring is not easy. It's not the employees actually live on the island. It's also in the Caribbean. We all know that sometimes, like, you can stay at a very high end luxury resort, but like, everybody's operating on island time, which is sometimes a little bit incongruent with your expectations for luxury level service. And I was blown away. Like, we just had amazing service from we had a butler with our bungalow, but we also had our servers at the restaurants, and just, again, it was just so top notch. So shout out to them for really being able to create that 5-star experience on a private island, which is definitely no easy feat for so many reasons. So shout out to them for that. Love it.
Awesome. I love it. You sold me on going to my island.
Okay, come on. Yes, exactly. Okay, let's get to our hospitality quote. I wonder if we have it up on here. But okay, perfect.
You got it. Excellence is the gradual results of always striving to do better. And that is from Mr. Miami, Pat Riley, the godfather of the Miami Heat and the NBA. It's a great quote. What do you feel about this quote when you hear it, Sarah?
I think consistency. And consistency is where you get excellence.
I like it, Ben. What do you think?
I'm all in on this quote. I mean, I feel like at every property we are trying to not do the same, but to do better. So yeah, I 100% agree with this. If my next property is exactly the same as my last, I don't think we're doing it right.
And I can say I can see it just from being on this property, from where he started to where we're sitting in now. And how long has it been since you opened this up?
We opened phase 1 in 2021, end of 2021, almost 22. And now, 3 years later.
So 3 years later, both sides are beautiful, because it's almost like two sides, but this is amazing. You see this quote in action where he is striving to be better. And I agree with that in all the businesses I do, and every day, just yourself personally too. Like, work on yourself every day, your mentals, your physical, your relationships, business, always striving to do better in all ways. So I love it. I think a great quote to end this show on. And we went over a little bit because we had such a great special host here.
Thank you guys for having me on.
We did.
Great job. He came, he studied, he had all the info down.
Yeah. More than most of us.
I might be doing my own podcast here soon. We'll see.
Yeah. Inspired.
Sweet. Inspired. No, I love it. I love it. Well, this was so cool. I have to say, I'm having a bit of FOMO, but just like watching and seeing what you guys are doing over there. But so congrats on everything so far, and excited to just see as it will continue to grow and evolve. And hopefully I'll make it out there one day.
Yeah, you and Alice, come down. The invitation's there. It's really nice in the fall and the spring.
Yeah. Fun.
Make it happen.
Will be a lot of fun.
All right, everyone. Well, until next week, stay hospitable, everybody. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Bye.
Bye, everybody.